You are listening to the Practicing the Art of Small Business podcast with Shannyn Merlo and Julie Parker. Enjoy this conversation about business, leadership, and the self-awareness journey to great success.
Welcome, Julie, and welcome, listeners, to Practicing the Art of Small Business. Julie, how are you?
I'm really super. Thanks, Shannyn, for asking. I'm very, very good, actually. I'm very good. And I'm already finding this a very interesting conversation. So thank you for that.
We've already chit-chatted. We may or may not include it at the end. It's very insightful information that I shared. If you're interested in food prep, stick on right through to the end.
Damn good hint, I tell you. I've already got value from speaking with you today, so thanks for that. But what else could we possibly gain value from, Shannyn, in our working world?
Well, it's interesting that you say that I've added value, because I wondered whether we could talk today on episode number 36 on whether you need a coach.
I think that, considering the fact that we're both coaches, an awesome idea. I wonder if the audience could figure out which side of the argument we're on.
I know, right? Oh,
now,
is this going to be a bias?
This was prompted by something that you read recently. Is that right?
Oh, look, I'm writing a blog post.
Oh, you are writing a blog post. That's right.
Yes, I'm writing a blog post of do you need a business coach and why I might not be the coach for you, which needs a little bit of toning down, because as I wrote it, I was doing a little bit of ranty, like Shannyn Rah.
The first draft is always a little intense.
But also there was in my social media feed a coach who's sort of throwing out there some potentially commonly held beliefs around in the marketplace and in terms of the value of coaches and what sort of experiences coaches should have. And obviously this coach is throwing out things that align very with this coach's experience. And again, I'm not using gender, just so that we are keeping it confidential on who this coach may or may not be. So I thought we could talk about, do you need a coach, what the value of coaches are. It's obviously a biased conversation because we are coaches, but it's worthwhile, I think, getting our read on what's important, what we think is important anyway. And we're probably happy to be wrong, and you're welcome to write into us and tell us that we're wrong, and we will happily accept that feedback because we love receiving feedback.
Yes, and we are well versed in being wrong. We know how to respond. It's not the first time either of us would have been told that.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, Julie, and I kind of, as we always do, go on little tangents, but aren't business coaches supposed to be right all the time? Isn't that why you get one?
Well, that's the only way we can blame them when things don't go wrong after we've taken all their advice. And so, yes, they have to be right all the time.
Maybe that's why I'm not the world's leading business coach, because I disagree and I'm very happy to be wrong. Awkward.
So firstly, this is in a very quick snapshot, what made you become a business coach, Shannon?
I ran out of other options. No.
The army wouldn't take me.
No. Okay. I'll try and keep it short. The very short story is I was working for the Movember Foundation, and I was working in prostate cancer programs. I oversaw funding of about 35 projects in prostate cancer research, in registries and prostate cancer outcomes data. And I loved it, but Movember also supports programs for mental health, and I was really interested in mental well-being in workplaces, and I was starting to think about, well, what's my next phase of life going to look like? And I was sort of a project director, and I thought, as a project director, I'm very good at doing other things. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to stay within the health space. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to stay within the charity space. I had a breakup, and Facebook was listening to me, and the coaching school that I went to put an advertisement up, like, basically, have you had a breakup and you're questioning everything about your life?
They were listening to you. They were watching.
How weird. So I went to one of their weekend things, and I thought, look, this is a great opportunity for me to learn personal development and improve my leadership skills, improve my communication skills, and let's just see what happens. Well, my first pro bono client started paying me, and it turns out that I was pretty good at having conversations and being insightful and building rapport and helping people uncover the things that they didn't know they needed to uncover. And it sort of grew from there. And about 2 years into coaching and working full-time, I decided to take the leap, and I've been doing it for about 5 years full-time. I started off doing more life coaching style conversations and then transitioned into business coaching. And this is where there's probably some people who are sort of going, well, what makes you good at doing business coaching if you've been a life coach? Well, I've got project management experience in workplaces. I've got operations experience. I've got marketing experience. I've got public relations experience. I've worked in multinationals, startups, joint ventures, insolvency, retail, hospitality. So I guess I'm very generalist in my experience, and I bring all of that together, and I've added a whole bunch of extra training and learning about business fundamentals on top of it. And I'm not the right coach for everyone because I'm not, I don't have an MBA and I haven't studied economics and I don't have an accounting degree and, but for the right people, I'm the right match. And there's my short story.
It was a long, short story, I've got to say to you, Shannyn, but it was intriguing all the same, just like your dietary this morning. It was good to know.
The alarm's gone off.
But I think it's a question, isn't it? Because that's one of the theories out there that some business coaches do speak about, that you need to have owned a business in the past in order for you to become a coach. But I feel like...
And you've done that, haven't you?
I have done it. So that argument fits beautifully. I had my own dental practice for 10 years and now I coach dental practices. And so I certainly do. It gives you, all it does, owning your own business, what it does, it gives you additional information. But there's so much information that any standard small business operator and owner doesn't have. They just want to access the broader information of somebody else and get a sense of accountability, momentum, motivation, all the other things. And we're going to talk about that to a degree. But I certainly don't think – I think coaches of the past who have been wildly successful, who haven't necessarily owned their own business, are proof in the pudding that you don't actually have to own one. If you've got a personal preference, I want someone that really gets the stress I'm under, the sleepless nights, the worry, the financial trauma going through my bank statements when there's not enough money in the account. And I feel like I've got an internal belief that the only person that can truly relate to me in that space is someone who has owned a business in the past, and seek one out that does own a business in the past. But if you are looking at instead, these are, and you don't have to only go to a business coach, certainly wildly not only go to a business coach if you're having troubles. But if you've got areas within your business ownership, self-management, people management that you would like to see improvements in, then look at the areas you want to improve in and then start seeking out a coach that that gets those outcomes on a regular basis for their clients. Would you go along with that?
Yes. I also want to say that I strongly held the belief when I first started out that, I've got this. But it's only as you said, my business became a business and I had the pressures of running a business and the ongoing, cash flow, finance, marketing, people, all of the stuff. Because actually we're coaches, but I run my business as a business and I have suppliers and, collaborators and products and all the rest of it. So it was only as I started to fully run the business as a business that I really got how stressful being a business owner is. And I do actually think that there's value. I know I show greater empathy or can at least help business owners understand that owning a business is challenging and there's always lots of various different stresses depending on how you experience life. But, you know, I think there's always a bit of an up and a down, and you're one of the most enthusiastic and optimistic people I know, Julie, but there's still times where it's like,
Yeah.
and then you take that 10-second moment and then get back on your
on your happy horse. I'm going to bed for half an hour.
And then you come out swinging again.
Okay, but it's all okay. The life is okay again. But it's interesting, Shannyn, because as you're talking, then I'm thinking to myself, well, if you were going through post-traumatic stress because you had been in the army and you saw terrible things, do you think the only person that can help you with that is a psychotherapist or a psychologist that's also suffering PTSD because they've been in the army going through terrible things? And quite often that can complicate it, and they're bringing their own baggage into that arena too much as well. And so when you look at other...
Are you suggesting I'm bringing my business baggage into my clients' conversation?
No, Shannyn, you certainly don't bring it into the podcast.
I bring my personal baggage into the podcast. My business baggage stays out of it.
Yes, the podcast, otherwise known as the Shannyn Show.
Shannyn's therapy.
Shannyn's therapy session. And so that's an interesting take on it too, that, you know, that I've had my own thought, my own interesting thought. I could sit here and talk to myself and I'd be quite interested. I'm enthralled.
I'm going to leave now. Julie's taking over because her conversations with herself are wildly more interesting than our collaboration.
And if I could be a little bit politically correct, because you know how I don't mind offending anybody, and what if you were struggling with weight and you had obesity issues? Is the only person that could help you also suffer from obesity issues? No, because clearly they may not have all the skills.
Right. You're absolutely right. I think having enough knowledge of the experience of your clients, but I think that's kind of a fundamental of a coach, right? Is someone who can see the world from your perspective. And so this is where I think going into, well, what is a coach? We probably need to go back into, do I need a coach? But, you know, while we're here.
Yeah.
So the fundamentals of a good coach, I think, and this is my opinion because it's how I see the world and how I think it makes me a good coach. I'm just seeding why I think I'm great at what I do.
By the way, your email's in the show notes.
There are coaches who will say, I've done it this way, and if you do my 10-step plan, you too will have the success that I've had. And I go, I'm never going to give you a 10-step plan of how I did anything because I am not you, and I don't think the way that you think, and I don't have the problems that you have. I don't have the strengths and weaknesses that you have. Therefore, I think my role is to try and work out how you think. What are the barriers to the way that you're doing it that's holding you back from achieving what you want to achieve? I see my role as being able to, if my client has half of the picture here, my role is to, and by the way, we're on the YouTubes, I'm using my hands. So
here's a little bit
switch over to YouTube at about, 20 minutes in. You know, the client sees 50% here. My role is to help give them a more holistic view by offering them the other 50% so that they're actually able to make more wise decisions. Now, we couldn't do that if all I did was offer them the same perspective of the way that they see the world. Yeah. But I also have to honour the way that my client sees the world because that's how they see the world. My role is to mix it up a little bit, is to kind of add a few little extra bits in. So I see part of my role as actually kind of understanding and then expanding and then adding, you know, a little bit of flavour.
Oh, a little bit of spice maybe. Oh, fun
all
to
things
work
nice.
With you. Fantastic. And that's right. I think the expert area that business coaches or life coaches have is a constant intrigue, discovery, learning about the human condition. how we behave, why we respond in a certain way, the impact of beliefs, understanding what stops us and from and what helps us succeed in achieving the goals that we all personally, individually have. And when you know, if you need, in my world, if you need to have a root canal therapy, it's fantastic to go off to an endodontist who spends all of their time doing root canal therapies, and they spend all of their researching root canal therapies. And so if you want to really tap into a space where there could be a lot for you to learn, discover, and benefit from in terms of knowing yourself better and getting better results from yourself and the different strategies that you can use to get there, then why not go to somebody who spends all of their working life and research life doing this work?
And that's a really interesting point. I've kind of questioned myself, believe it or not. I know it's weird, self-reflection. Who would have thunk it? Kind of questioning when you can actually Google the answer to pretty much any question, what is my inherent value? And, if I can recommend a book or what have you, what is my value? Well, we literally spend our entire days thinking about business, thinking about strategy, thinking about people, thinking about human behavior. And that's why we can add more value, because we spend our entire times doing this. Whereas business owners, yes, they're running their own businesses, but they're not educating, learning, like literally sort of, 16-ish hours a day on this platform. Would you agree with that?
Oh.
That, there's value in the fact that we actually are immersed in all of these facets of humans and businesses for such a large portion of the day.
That's it. And we've got a different processing of the information that we research, because we embrace it as something that we really love doing. And so quite often, I don't know if you've had this experience as well, Shannyn, that you come across a client and they're in that space where they've become very frustrated and resentful about the human side of themselves and their workers and their business. They're like, oh, God, I've put the right systems in place. I've funded it all. What else do I need to do? Do I need to become a psychologist for all these people as well? We embrace that stuff, but quite often one of the biggest barriers for our clients is that they're stepped into that space where they're resisting it, and that they're apprehensive to then embrace it because they think it's going to mean a whole lot more work and they just don't have the time or energy to do it.
Well, then that's the value of the coach, right? In terms of going, well, actually we can support removing that time and energy, because our role is to actually give you shortcuts.
Short cats. Just little wee cats. They've got little short legs and little short tails. Right around. Causing mischief.
Short cats. I do actually want to bring more cat analogies in later on in terms of solving problems, but we'll come back to that.
As long as we're not skinning the cat, I think we'll be happy. We may be skinning the cat.
I like a skinning of the cat. Not theoretically, not actually, for the record. So I think maybe if we go right back to the fundamental question, why would I need a coach, Julie?
You don't need a coach. No one needs to be coached.
However,
if you would like to get different or better results than you're getting now with what you know and what you've applied to date, then a coach is a wonderful pathway forward.
And I think you brought up a personal trainer earlier on. I think a great analogy as to the difference between having a coach and not having a coach is that personal trainer analogy. So if I was looking to engage a personal trainer, I would sit down with them and I'd say, here are my goals. I want to strengthen up. I want to deadlift this. I want to win a competition. I want to run a marathon. I want to lose weight. I want to whatever. And then the coach would, using their experiences and their knowledge, they would then put a program together that would help us to achieve that goal. Because we're paying money and we have a time specifically booked in to see that coach, we commit energy to turning up in our gym gear prepared to actually work out. And I think that that's one of the things that people do value about having the business coach, a coach. It's that working on the business, not in the business. It's dedicated time to get out of the weeds that I'm paying for, that I'm going to think more strategically. I think also with that personal trainer, there's that accountability, which a lot of clients say to me they want. It's turning up. It's, they know that that person's going to check on them and say, did you eat lots of potato chips? And my answer would be, yes, I did. But I'm happy to lift an extra 5 kilos.
Look at me go.
Look at me go. Ebony and ivory. It's not quite right. What's balance? I was going to say.
Yeah, it wasn't ebony and ivory, but I don't
Swings
know.
and roundabouts?
The yin and yang. It's not even really the yin and yang.
Yin and yang? Yeah.
The give and take. Maybe the give and take. I don't know.
I thought you said something about cake, and I'm like, cake.
Cake?
Oh, I'd like some cake. So I think with a personal trainer, as you said, if you want to get there with support and perhaps get there faster, get there with greater insights, get there without actually as much use of your brain space. Although I do think that a coach makes you think more and differently. But in a personal training situation, you turn up, they give you the exercises, you do the exercises, you go home. A little bit similar. It depends what I think depends on how the coach approaches the work that they're doing, and whether it is a 10-step plan or whether it's more of a organic approach to coaching. But I think that's thinking about the value of a personal trainer can help bring insight into the value of. I'm going to talk mostly about business coaching in the context of what we do, if that's okay, Julie.
I don't mind. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't want to know what you do. You have free will.
We've got an episode on free will.
We like to bring up previous episodes that we've done.
Julie, that episode about free will goes back to episode 10.
Oh, that was such a long time ago. That was so like last year, man.
It wasn't even last year. It was before last year, I would say. Oh, no, because we started during – it would have been 2020.
Yeah. Wow.
So episode number 10, check it out. It is about giving free will to your people.
Which is why it's okay that Shannyn just focuses on business coaching during her discussions. But could I flip it quickly to golf coaching?
Of course you may.
And because it kind of lends further into what we're just discussing. So when you picture Tiger Woods, superstar golfer, been so for many, many years, top of his game for a long period of time. And I think he's gone through, like a dozen coaches. And he doesn't get a coach teaching him how to hit a golf ball because he doesn't know how to hit a golf ball, because he doesn't know how to win, because he's not already winning. I
was about to say he's probably done that once or twice before.
I think so. And a lot of people would say, you should be the coach. And he's like, no, I'm winning quite enough money the way I'm doing it now. Thanks so much. But he gets a golf coach. Because of that, we want to always be, sharpening the sword.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Yes, that is from where is my book? This one, that one, a book. There's a book. Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Stephen Covey. Yeah, there we go, Stephen Covey. Sharpen the sword. And this is the thing. You don't have to be going through challenging times to reach out to a coach. You just have to want to sharpen the sword. You just want to have that intention of getting better and better all the time. You may not have all the time in the world to research all the many ways you could get better. And that's part of the joy, the magic of getting a coach.
Some things that clients say to me, and I sometimes don't reflect on how valuable it is, where business owners are really lonely and they don't often, not everyone has networks where they share their vulnerabilities and their frustrations, or they don't want to take it home with them.
Yeah.
And so often I have clients say, I value sometimes just being able to complain about my staff or take a breath or get validation that I'm having a tough time, because they don't often get that opportunity. And so having an empathetic ear of saying, that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah. I agree with you. Many times a client has said, it's just been so good to get it off my chest, because we'll get to the end of the hour, and it's at that point they take a breath. Yeah. You're like, I feel like I haven't done anything to help you today. No, it's just been so good to get it off my chest.
Do you know what? I'm like, so we've only got about 10, 15 minutes left in our session. What is the outcome that you'd like? Well, no, this was just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No
just
worries.
wanted to feel better about it, and that you got me there.
Now, Julie, how do you pick a coach?
That's a tremendous question, Shannyn.
That's a good. I think that's a good way to pick a coach, is to find one who asks good questions.
Oh, I choose you. I choose you.
Yay!
But I think it is having that awareness of, where does my discomfort lie, or where do I want to sharpen that sword, using that theory before, because I want to get out of that thought process of something's wrong, so you go get a coach. Something could be very right, like Tiger Woods was always very right in the way he performed on the field, on the green, on the tee. Maybe not always off the tee, but he was going very, very well, and therefore he needed a coach to maintain him there at the very minimum, hopefully get better and better all the time. And so look at the area that you want to be improved in. Try to pull back from the thought that you should find a coach that's going to tick all of the boxes. Maybe you've got 5 areas you want to get better at. To find a coach that's going to be fantastic, all those 5 areas, may not be a great result for you. So make sure that you do have one that may be more around mindset and beliefs and self-awareness, another one around business strategy, another one around marketing and promotions and client attraction and retention. So what are your thoughts about really nutting down to categories and possibly getting more than one coach? What are your thoughts around that?
Yes. I think it's the reason I'm pensive.
Some of you used that big word on this program before.
I don't believe in our 36 episodes pensive has been used before, so I'm quite excited.
It's a beautiful sounding word. I'm going to start using it more often. I'm going to make sure I start behaving pensively, so I can say the reason I'm pensive is because of this. So one of my questions that I was going to ask you was, what are alternatives to coach, and do you have a coach? And so I kind of feel like I need to skip ahead. I don't currently have a coach, a business coach, because what I've got is a mentor who I talk to about my clients, who I use as an opportunity to kind of go, here's what I'm thinking, here's how I'm helping them. This mentor is the complete opposite of me in personality style, in thinking, in experiences. So he's a really great balance to me, because he is kind of, we are the yin and yang. So I use him to pick his brain about clients and things like that. I have a therapist. I have many therapists, and I'm using therapists to work on a lot more of mindset sort of stuff, and really kind of digging into my internal fears and insecurities and doubts that are holding me back in life. But life is business, so there's correlation there. I have collaborators like yourself, Julie, who I talk to about, look, I've got this challenge. How would you deal with this? What would you do? That sort of thing. I'm about to get certified in a program which will actually elevate my learning around business acumen, and I'll be supported by their community. So I guess my answer to your question is yes, I am. I have lots of different support things for different areas of what I need, but I don't currently have a coach who sits with me and does strategy and accountability and things like that. So I think yes, I do, but no, I don't, is my answer to your question. Yeah. I have Charles up the hallway, who is
That's not a business name, by the way. Charles up the hallway.
The minute I have an issue of any kind, I just toddle up the hallway and say, "Are you busy?" He always says, "Yes, I am." I sit down anyway, and I say, "Just take 5 minutes. This is my issue. How should I reframe it? Where's the opportunity in it? Where am I going wrong? There's a block there. I don't know what it is." And he's fantastic with that. But I'm one of the examples of a so-called bad coaching client, because I have the perspective of I don't need to employ a coach myself. No one's going to tell me what to do. And I'm smart enough to figure it out for myself. Thanks very much.
But also, like, in terms of looking at what do you need, clients who say to me, "Oh, I need that accountability." Actually, I forgot to mention, I do have an accountability person who calls me Victoria. She calls me on Friday mornings. She's from America.
I thought you were going to say Shannyn. She calls you Victoria. I'm like, but your name is Shannyn. Why does she call you Victoria?
It's my alter ego. Victoria's way more enthusiastic than I am.
You call it Ohio?
So I do actually have an accountability person. So I have one of those as well.
You have a few. You have a posse around you. And, you know, that's a good thing. Was it Napoleon Hill that said, no, it was Jim Rohn, the 5 people that you surround yourself with, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, was it in that? One of them said, be careful of the 5 people you surround yourself with. That's where you're going. And so this is another wonderful thing. When I say that about a coach that I can figure it out for myself, I know damn well that if I was to adopt the services of a coach, it would make me better. It would absolutely make me better. There's no question about that. So let me just pop that little out there. But another thing to do is making sure that the people around you are helping to lift you up and getting better results out of yourself because you're around these people. And because sometimes we can create a posse around ourselves that just make us feel comfortable and don't stretch us and don't push us instead, and make us feel very comfortable with where we are right now. And if we don't grow, that's okay, because everyone else accepts me the way I am. That's what family are for. We get another posse around you going, you've been in this space for a long period of time. How about lifting the game a little bit? Come on up here. Yeah. I'm saying it like I'm up there.
No, but also I think that you naturally tend to challenge yourself, and I do that as well, and therefore I don't really need to bring a coach on board to challenge me, because, frankly, if anything, I need a coach to help pull me back and be a little bit more compassionate to myself than to kind of rah-rah get stuff done. Why haven't you done your things, Shannyn Merlo?
But she also always second guesses herself before she swears on a podcast. But we've already said this podcast is not for little children.
To be fair, I mean, outside of being recorded, I swear like a trooper.
I'm often offended. Really, really offended.
Often. So, Julie, I mentioned alternatives. If you are not ready or wanting a coach, but you're thinking, you know what, maybe there's value to doing something that coaches might do, what could you do as alternatives?
I think a mastermind, join a great mastermind group. That's a tremendous way of tapping into what's been working well for others and other resources that, you're pushing yourself and you're beyond your own hemisphere. So you're becoming aware of the other things outside of there that you might be able to be doing that can help you with your success. So my first one would be, outside of getting 5 good people around you, as many, maybe not even limit it to 5, but do a mastermind as well.
What else?
The other thing as well is, when we're talking about, we've spoken about Johari window in the past. We don't have time to go into it right now, but it is simply brilliant. Maybe we should just do an episode just on the Johari window. But in a very quick snapshot, the Johari window is made up of 4 elements of our personality. One is the facade that we have. This is the image that we put out to the world of who we are. The other area is the arena. So this is the stuff that I know about myself, and everybody else knows it about me too, freaking awesome, things like that, Beautiful, talented. I'm all hooked up on myself. I can't think of the next one. The other one is unknown, and that's the stuff that nobody else knows about me, but I don't really know about myself either. It's all that very deep subconscious-y stuff. But then there's the blind spot, and that's the stuff I don't necessarily know about myself, but everyone else knows about me. Like, she's arrogant, she's pushy, she's controlling, she loves the
I'm
limelight.
glad you mentioned it, Julie. I was going to say something, but
You know, we're so friends and all. And so whatever's going to help you, because the intention is to become aware of your blind spot. And also within the Johari window, one of the intentions is to build out the facade area. So the stuff that I know about myself that nobody else really knows about me, to push that out, be a little bit vulnerable. And so to be able to look into those areas, whatever's going to allow you to step outside of your comfort zone, I think is good. So whether that is, jumping out of an aeroplane, something I would never suggest to anybody, but that's an example of going outside your comfort zone. When you work outside your comfort zone, you find out more things about yourself. And so that's bringing the unknown up to the surface as well, the unknown portion of the Johari window as well. When you start to seek out the feedback of others, then you are also, there's an element of vulnerability there, but you are increasing your own self-awareness and what you're capable of. So I think anything that does involve other people and more extreme situations that you can place yourself into, I think those sort of activities are helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually do think that books are very useful. I'll often, so one that I read recently or audio read was Primed to Perform, which is all about total motivation and looking at how to motivate employees and team members and things like that. I can give you the top line of that and I can build you a program of that, but go and listen to the book because I do a really good job of explaining what it is, and then that convinces you as to whether you actually want to bring it into your organization. So there's huge numbers of books. Another one, which is amazing book for business owners, The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Another Covey kind of book is an amazing book looking at how to build.
His son, Sean Covey.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
I think that this is part of the same printing press. Oh, it doesn't matter. Who cares? But basically, it's a really, really good book about how to, build your rocks, your projects in your business and get them done, scorecards, things like that. This is literally the book that will tell you how to implement your strategy and get your team on board. It's incredible. And you know what? You probably, if you read the book and implement the book, then don't worry about getting a coach because that's really good. What else have I got in here that I think is really, really valuable? Oh, look, here's another one which is really great. The one-page marketing book from Alan Dibb. Very, very good in terms of developing your marketing strategy.
Nice.
What else have I got in here? Oh, hang on. This is another fantastic book. Oops. Or you could just hire me and I'll give you book recommendations.
Go to Shannon's house. Have a week there. Do a share house situation. Systemology. Oh, systemology. Yes.
Systemology. If your business has, at least 5 heading into 10 and growing very rapidly, Systemology is an amazing book to teach you how to systematize your business because you need systems in your business as it grows. You need systems in your business if you're going to sell it, and it's a really great framework to use. Now, all of these things have coaches who wrap around these programs and these ideas that will actually help you to implement. And that's the difference. You can learn from the book, but what you can do is then extend it to get insight from someone who can actually support the implementation in your business. So books can help. I think if you've got a question, how do I better manage my team? Google, YouTube is a great resource for lots of shorts. I have a separate YouTube channel, by the way, Julie. I don't know if you're aware of that. I do. It's Inspired Outcomes Consulting on the tubes.
Oh, yes, I know yours. Your one, of course. I didn't know you were talking about ours. That's right. No. Yes, Inspired Outcomes Consulting. Wonderful. Yes. And I've commented before, your videos are absolutely fantastic. But there are so many podcasts out there as well. And I think the challenge now...
The Practicing the Art of Small Business. I believe there's 36 episodes that are available. I don't know why you need anything else.
But the challenge now is that there is such an enormous amount of stuff out there. How do you find the stuff that might end up being, resonating with your particular life? And that's to ask for recommendations. Look at people who are already at the place that you want to be in, either from a self-awareness, leadership, team management, whatever the topic might be, business structure, anything, and say, what are give me a couple of book titles that you found really useful to get you to where you are. That's sometimes helpful too.
Yeah. Julie, have we missed anything off the list of do I need a coach?
No, I think we've covered everything. I mean, I do have this question of, what impact can a coach have, but I think we've touched on that. It's just, it can be, when you find the right coach, if you've had one and it hasn't worked out, keep searching, because as you mentioned at the very start, we need to find one that resonates with us, that we get along well with, and that pushes us, but not to a point where they're actually really repelling us, that they get the best out of us. And take responsibility for yourself. You can be taught all the things in the world. If you're not the one putting them into action, then you're not going to have long-standing results. You may have results for a few weeks or months or even a couple of years, but you'll default back to your own basic habits when you don't make sure you do the work on yourself as well. But embrace it. See it as an exciting journey and become really passionate about what am I capable of and how am I going to get there.
That's a really good point that I do want to reiterate, in that the coach isn't the one who gets you the results. So if you're looking to invest in a coach, it's really an investment in yourself and making sure that you are going to turn up, you're going to leverage their knowledge, you're going to actually push your comfort zone so that you can grow and actually be a better leader and a better business owner. And be prepared to actually implement things that don't sound right. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's not right. So really pushing yourself out of that comfort zone to get the best results. So it is actually up to yourself to get the best results, knowing, of course, that a coach is only going to be in your business maybe 1, maximum 2 hours a week at best. They can't possibly be held accountable for changing your business when you're in there for another 40, 50 hours a week, 60, 70, 100 hours a week.
Just like all our little children that go through, not yours and mine, we don't have any, Shannyn, but all the other little children that go to primary school and things, the teachers are up there teaching, but how often do those report cards go home saying they're not applying the information, so they're not doing the learning? So it's the same for us as adults.
Julie, do we have anything else to talk about, or have we pretty much covered this as a topic?
I think we covered it. I think we can call it an episode. That's an episode on coaching.
Fantastic. I have very limited notes, but do I need a coach? It depends what your goals are. But a coach can actually help you know yourself better. You can learn from them. There's other ways to skin a cat.
We got it in there. Woo-hoo.
Get a mentor, get collaborators, hang out with 5 cool people, get a book, YouTube, sharpen your saw or your sword, either way. I think it's also a saw because it is sharpen the saw because the story that he tells is the guy who is chopping down trees.
Yeah, he's sawing down. You're chopping with an axe, but you're sawing with a saw.
Yeah, no, because it is sharpen the saw, isn't it?
I thought it was the sword, but you're probably right. It's probably saw. I'm trying to find my version. That's okay. We'll go with saw because it makes sense.
It doesn't matter. And, make sure that when you get one that there's really good rapport and you feel safe with them so that when they challenge you to step outside of your comfort zone, they've got your back and they'll look after you while they do that.
Beautiful, Shannyn. Thanks so much for another wonderful episode. I hope everyone gains great value from it. And I hope you are getting lots of calls. You've got to help us. We need a coach.
Awesome.
Well, see you next time, Shannyn. Have a fantastic week until we speak to each other next.
I know. And, go and check out our backlog, people. If this is the first time you've heard our dulcet tones, we have many more dulcet tones in episodes.
Thanks, Shannyn. I'll see you next time.
I think the difference is that we could still be talking about random crap and still entertain each other.
That's true. That's true. I agree. I agree.
I could be cooking dinner and still entertaining you.
Look at the mud that you're drinking.
This is healthy.
Does it go out
jar,
the same
man.
way?
Slightly less green.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
What?
I on my fruit preps day.
Yeah.
I make little smoothie things with like pineapple and kale and berries and zucchini and cauliflower and other vegetable shit, and I stick it in the freezer.
Yeah.
And then I whack that in my bullet with some protein and some collagen and some of this and that and da-da-da-da. Pour hot water over it so that I don't break my NutriBullet with frozen vegetables. Yeah. And health food drink right there.
That is a great idea. How many food prep days do you have a week?
One. I do one every month, pretty much.
And you got all,
it's only
what
me.
A great idea. You'd have no wastage of fruit and veg either.
No, because then, you put it all in there. I normally make like a soup, a pasta sauce and my smoothie things and mashed veggies for breakfast.
Well, that's pretty damn impressive. Pretty damn impressive. Well done to you. Okay, let's get this party started.
You were impressed about me before.
Pardon?
You were impressed with me beforehand.
I know.
Now.
Can you imagine how much more impressed I am now? So this is an interesting conversation